Yes, I
Yes, I
can.
can. I can see you.
Okay. I am Pauline Gongang. So I'm the co-founder and secretary general for Wem'Afrika. I'm going to talk briefly about Wem'Afrika before B talks about the agenda of this program. So Wem'Afrika was created in the year 2016 by 7 founding members. And our objective was just to change the narrative of Africa through humanitarian affairs, conflict management, capacity building, humanitarian, gender. And all these areas, we have worked in hand with other organizations, as well as other people like B. B joined us in the capacity building like a few months ago. With her skills and her knowledge, she was able to reach out to people. And this is our first webinar for the capacity building department. So that's a plus for us and it's a plus for B. So B, thank you so much for joining. So Wem'Afrika is just to support individuals in their goals, in their objectives, especially in areas that need a lot of research, a lot of critical thinking. If you look on the African continent, we have lots of resources, lots of knowledge, but all of our resources goes to the West. Why? What's the problem? Maybe lack of training, maybe it's lack of leadership skills or effective skills. So with Wem'Afrika, we're just changing our narrative. How can we support our community? Firstly, we are working first with our community, then we go regional, and then go international. But how can we go international when we don't support our community? So that's where we start with Wem'Afrika. We start with Cameroon first. We make sure we have a good foundation, and from that foundation, we go now regionally. And we have worked so far with individuals from Ethiopia, from Kenya as well. And it has been a very good platform where we have grown and developed ourselves. So with capacity building, where we are focusing on is training, e-learning, conferences, and how to support individuals in their leadership skills. What are the resources they need? What are the information they need that will help them to elevate their minds? So with the authority or rather with the capacity I have in me, I'll open this webinar and be able to take control and she'll be your host moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, we have two speakers. Hello to everybody. I hope you can all hear me. It's true, the network in is a little shaky, but we just have to be patient. All right, before I start, if you're in a noisy environment, please endeavor to mute yourselves so that we don't get distracted. And if you cannot turn on your video, that's okay. But if you can, we would love to have your beautiful or your handsome face. We would love to know you personally. All right. The webinar of today is essentially talking about essential communication skills for effective leadership. Okay. We have two speakers. We have Sally Dabe. Hello. Welcome again. And we have Faith Flor. I just want to say again, we are happy to have you. And just to remind you that this webinar is going to be This webinar is going to be for approximately 1 hour, 30 minutes max. So we love that you give respect time. When you want to do your presentations, you have 20 minutes, 25 minutes max. And we are going to give for questions and answers from the participants at the end. Or if someone has a question that is very pressing, you can wait. When the speaker finishes, we are going to take 1 or 2 questions, then we take general questions at the end. Please, if your question is really, really important and you're not going to remember, you can write it down or put it in the chat box. Later we'll read it out and you say whoever you want to answer the question. All right. Without further ado, we're going to start with Sally. She's going to be talking to us about interpersonal communication skills. I know she has a lot for us, and I would like that we really focus and learn something from her today. So, Sally, can we have you and just tell us about what you know about communication, and when you hear the word communication, what comes to mind? Can you talk to us?
Okay, there is, you know me and my overdoing self. I went ahead and I prepared like a very elaborate slides.
I know.
So I was planning to like share my screen because I think interpersonal communication is a topic that we really underlook, which is very powerful. It's a very powerful tool. And I think communication is what set leaders apart from others. Because some people might just sit back, especially in Africa, and they feel like, why is Darius having all the limelight? Why is she the one shining? And so on. But then they don't know it's the way you interact with people. Interpersonal communication is not only verbally, it is your mood, it is how tolerant you are, it is the way you smile, it is everything about a person. So that's just exactly what communication is. So do people feel safe around you? Can people trust you? That's communication for me. So before we even dive into interpersonal communication, I would like us to think about the fact that before interpersonal, there is personal. We have a lot of personal communication going on. I don't know if you all can attest, or at some point you guys have told yourself like, Sally, get up from sleep. You have work. Do you people do that? Am I the only one? Yeah, so we have this personal communication that goes on. Oh, calm down. You're not supposed to react to this situation. Oh, you have to act this way. So aside, sorry about my background. My background has noise. So aside that, when it gets to interpersonal, this is you now communicating with other people. So you need a high level of emotional intelligence, especially in the entrepreneurial landscape, especially in the job market. You need high level of emotional intelligence. You don't always want to be on the edge, like most people who are not literate enough or who don't understand communication will be. So as an entrepreneur or as a leader, you might want to pause for a while, listen, understand, and then you give informed, because people want to see like you're adding value. You give an informed suggestion. So to me, that's what interpersonal communication. So before I dive deep again, I'll just very quickly try to share my screen because I have a lot of brainstorming in my slides. Oh, they say only the host can share. Okay. That's no problem. So
Maybe you just
try
read.
again. Can you try?
sorry, try to share again.
Yeah, try again.
Okay. All right, so I got it now. Is everybody seeing my screen? Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the little stuff I had in Canva about interpersonal communication, because like I was saying, interpersonal doesn't only mean you talking to somebody else, but then you can be communicating in a team like we're doing now. So these are different people, different opinions, and different way they understand the information you're trying to put out. So for the learning outcome, at the end of the day, I was expecting, or I'm expecting, that participants get to define interpersonal communication. It's a really broad definition because, like I said, it is both verbal and then non-verbal. And then at the end of the day, I was also hoping that participants get like the appropriate interpersonal communication skills, like make it more applicable, because then we don't just have to talk and talk. We're talking about real life. We're talking about our businesses. For like on my part, I manage a lot of volunteers for Happy Me Health. So I know what it entails to get to like understand different people, send information across, and then the disappointments, and then the maturity, because they say as a leader, you have to be the mature one. So the maturity that comes in play. So first off, when it comes to interpersonal communication, these are things you have to understand about the communication. Is everybody following?
Yeah, we can hear you.
First off, they are
we are.
communicators. You have to understand that they are communicators. This is Sally. I'm talking to Darius. I'm talking to Faith. I'm talking to Romeo. So they are communicators. You want to pass a message across. So there is somebody talking, and then there is a receiver. Very importantly, you have the message. This message part is very important. Are you sending it via online? Are you doing one-on-one message? Are you communicating via radio, which is talking about the channels? How are you passing this message, which is very important? And then we have the noise. In communication sometimes, especially if we have to write it, we have a lot of jargons. We write things that maybe we don't necessarily mean them, or we don't know how to put our emotions out there. Those are the noise that we're talking about, all the jargons that comes in with the communication. Maybe you're angry at a colleague. You are really trying to calm yourself, but you're not calming yourself. You go and say things that are more than what you intended. That is the noise. And then the feedback now comes with how the other person receives the message. Sometimes feedback is not always good. Sometimes feedback comes with a lot of backlash. Sometimes feedback is warm, it's friendly. The person says, oh, I understand exactly what message you are trying to pass across. And then that's a win-win for you. And then we have the context. Now, this context part is very important in the sense that we cannot be talking about interpersonal communication skills and then somebody just get up and put on the mic and say, ha, that Cameroon match, I really like the way we beat Zambia. Ha, Cameroon finish. So it's just totally OT. You understand? And people get to do that a lot with interpersonal communication, which as a leader, it doesn't sit well. We cannot be focusing on one thing and then all of a sudden you are talking about something else. So context is very, very important. Communicate what you want effectively. Now the channels are already made mention of. So now what is interpersonal communication? Interpersonal communication is the spoken or non-verbal exchange of information, idea, and emotions. Emotions are very, very noteworthy. Most times as humans, we are guided with a lot of emotions. It's not about the idea. Sometimes you can be passing a really good message, but your tone, somebody can feel like you are rude for no good. You are rude, you understand? You can, okay, see, let me take for instance, I know Darius. I know that, okay, this is how Darius speaks. But not everybody knows Darius that way. Faith doesn't know Darius that way. So Darius might be trying to pass an information, like you're telling people to register for this event, and you go like, yes, click on this link and register for the event. Normally, you're passing a very good message. But now, to some people, emotionally, that will come across as harsh. You get the point? Because your tone of voice, your body language, all those things. So people tend to play a lot on emotion. So you ought to be careful about that part. Between two or more individuals, that's interpersonal communication. It is either you're talking to your baby, you're talking to your boss, or you're talking to a team of people, or you are in a meeting, or a setting like this one, you understand? So you have to communicate across so many people, and then you expect their feedbacks. So for the next, interpersonal communication can be direct or indirect. For the direct interpersonal communication, it refers to communication that takes place face-to-face situation. This is always the best communication because with this one, direct, you can deduce everything. You're there, you see the person, you take note of the tone of voice, you take note of the body language. Direct information is always easier. But then indirect is when we use other means like technology. Some people always say when information is passed by phone, it is difficult for most people to understand. Because then with direct, somebody can ask you a question. What did you say? Please, can you explain this more? That. But before somebody has an opportunity to give feedback online, the message has already been interpreted. That's why we can find ourselves in everyday situation having more issues via online, like online text messages, than we can have when we communicate directly. So a quick pause. Can we all brainstorm a little about the benefits, that's the downsides of direct and indirect communication? So at this point, somebody has to unmute and then give me like one benefit or one downside of the direct communication that I just mentioned. So anybody wants to go? Hello, guys. Am I still online or network has kicked me out?
You are. You can hear you.
So any benefits of direct communication that I didn't mention? Any downside? Okay, so we move on. So these are the things that I've been talking about: the tone of voice, the body language, the facial expressions. Like now, if you people put on your video, I can see somebody maybe not really paying attention, or somebody doing something else, which is not really good. Most times we get that a lot. But as a leader, you're just supposed to move past that. Even if you're presenting it like your TEDx talk, and then some people are on their phone and all the likes, do you stop?
No.
Do you stop or do you? You get the point.
No.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to give a few scenarios and then we'll just all deduce how we can work on our communication skills with the scenario. Okay, so for the first scenario, take for instance, as a leader, or let me take for instance, you're managing your company and all the likes. So all of a sudden you have this call from maybe the US Embassy, and they call you and say, oh, they've heard a lot about you. They want to do something with your business. They want to maybe invest. And then you are excited. They give you a rendezvous and then you get there. Normally, the person that gave you the rendezvous was not the person who received you. You met maybe the secretary, and the secretary was having a really bad day.
Yes.
The secretary just pour all her or his frustration on your body. As a leader, how will you react to that situation?
Personally, I think people often react also with regards to their own emotions. But in my case, I think I'll be calm because I'm going to know where I'm going to, I know what I'm going to get there. So it is in best to be calm and just understand the person's emotion.
Thank you very much. Any other person wants to go? Same thing or something different?
Yeah, I think no, the same thing. I think I would rather be calm because there's no need trying to be loud because the person is shouting out. Should be calm to these things because if you have to shout together with the person, it's going to cause a fight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So you guys are really getting it. With interpersonal communication, it's not like we leaders, we don't want to react or we don't feel like we can pull off our sleeves and then just get some few people beaten. No, you have to ask yourself, this action that I want to portray, what will be the outcome? Normally, like you all rightly said, if you get into a fight with that secretary now, and the person that you are expecting to meet gets pissed or is angry about that fight, they will just bundle the both of you and throw out now. So as leaders, that's why I said we have to have good mastery of emotional intelligence. And then in life, when you are not fighting somebody, then there is no need for the person fighting back. Because as you're calm, that woman will just talk and talk and talk and get tired at some point because you are not talking back. You get the point? So that's you managing your emotions. That's you becoming tolerant. So those are the kind of skills that you have to harness in order to like really have a mastery of interpersonal communication. Because then you have to be the bigger person. At the end of the day, after keeping your cool, you attend your meeting, you can still come back and you give the lady a reality check. You can teach. You add value to their life. You say something of meaning, but then you've already achieved what you went there, because basically that's what I do most times. The fact that I don't react, the fact that I keep calm, I'll always come back most times and I'll tell you nothing but the truth, or I'll tell you my mind. Because they said the world isn't ruined by those that do evil, but by those that watch it happen and they do nothing about it. So you might want to correct situations like that. So for scenario number 2, you attend this high-class event and then you meet your world best speaker. Oh, let me just take for instance, you meet Elon Musk. and you have been dying to meet Elon Musk. What will you do? That means there are so many people crowding him. Everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to get your contact. Oh, Elon Musk, Elon Musk. As a leader, and with everything you know about effective communication, what will you do at that instance? Anybody wants to go? This is the last scenario, and then we move on. Hello, guys. Are you all still hearing me?
Yeah, we can
I'm
hear
not
you.
hearing Katie's voice. It's like we're just three in the call. I'm not hearing Pauline.
I can hear you.
All right.
I think for me, if I'm meeting
Mhm.
else, everybody's excited to meet him, I'll just pray. I don't know what to do because it's about you trying to really reach out to him, but it's difficult.
Mhm.
So another strategy I can use is either I get closer to him or
Mm.
I work so hard that he just notices me. I think that's
Okay. So how you working hard in the event? You're going to be jumping, running.
maybe that event I won't meet him, but before the next event, I'll make sure I'll work so hard that he will need my services.
Okay. Okay.
I
Yes,
think
I get it.
for me.
Okay. Any other person? What
Yeah,
will you
yeah. Good
do
evening,
in that
everyone.
case? Yes, Homie, I'm listening.
Yeah, already if I'm in that scenario, it means that it's something I've had idea of ahead of time. I knew that I'm going to this event and I'll meet like if it is a talk, just a talk on science, I knew he's one of the participants, one of the presenter, and that's somebody I hold so much respect for. Already, I will do before going to the event. I'll do some background check about his work, his current
Yeah.
research, his previous research, and look
Good.
into the future, what he's working on. And now,
Yeah.
personally, when I reach out to him, I need to make a pitch, like make him feel interest in me. Like, okay, I will not just say, okay, I've read your work, yeah, I've read your work on this topic, on this area, I've researched
Mm-hmm.
about your area. Like, okay, I'll be more coherent in the sense that, okay, this work that you work on Starline internet connection has really helped my community where I come from, maybe Boya in
Yeah.
Asante, and people are really happy because before then we never had any internet communication. And I want really to know what inspired you to have this kind of thought of thinking of people right in the remote area. Then you have somehow, perhaps I might be the first person who bring him this kind of account
Mm-hmm.
from probably Africa or probably from a remote area.
Yeah.
And he started telling his story, we start discussing, and at the end of the day, you will see a match, and we could have a change of cards and so on. I mean, we
Wow.
always have.
Thank you so much. I think that really like summarizes a lot about interpersonal communication, because then as a leader, you might want to speak up all the time. People should be aware of what you do at every given opportunity. So you have to communicate it. What happens most time with us African youths is, it's not like these people don't want youths out there, but I don't know if it's over respect or what. But when we're given opportunities like that, one, we always end up over complimenting and then don't say what we intend to say or don't sell ourselves. Or we are just so shy not to even get to them. The Western world does a lot of communication. They communicate every time, everywhere, even in hospitals. Before the doctor is collecting blood, the doctor is talking to patient. I'm taking your blood because I want to do this. I'm doing this test. I'm doing this. They believe so much in interpersonal communication because that is how you gain trust. That is how you know somebody, and that is how you break the personal barriers. So if you don't communicate and you don't give your elevator pitch, like Romeo said, you will not be getting a lot of opportunities because people will know you. People wouldn't even know what gets you angry. People wouldn't even know what you like. People wouldn't even know how to interact with you. So you have to make yourself known. So Romeo, thank you so much for explicitly explaining that. So I really appreciate you. Just said what was in my mind.
That's clear, and that's not Romeo, I think.
Who said? I think the only guy who had is Romeo. Somebody else joined. Sorry, I'm sorry about the name. Okay. So there are two kinds of interpersonal communication. We have the dyad and then we have the group. I think I already elaborated on this, so that's why I passed. So in what setting do you usually encounter group? We've already spoken about it. So rounding up, for my take-home message, I think interpersonal communication has really played a lot for me this year. Like what the person who just spoke explained, I think that was the unique factor that gave me an opportunity to even meet and connect with WHO, because when I met WHO at an event, I wasn't quiet. I went ahead and I did my elevator pitch. And I know I'm not only doing it for myself, but I'm doing it for my volunteers and I'm doing it for the impact that I want to reach. So for me, the three take-home message that I want us all to keep in mind as we go back home. I know interpersonal communication, information is all over the place, but then these three things for me are just what makes the difference. First, in order to effectively communicate, you have to be bold as a leader, the boldness to speak your mind, to say nothing but your truth. You see it even in wolf packs. There are followers, there are people who will just sit quiet and then they just watch leaders do what they want to do. There are people who lead because then they have a way of effectively communicating and then doing what they want. So you want to harness your boldness skills. You can walk up to anybody at any time. As long as you are not affecting anybody, as long as you are not killing anybody, you effectively communicate what you want to communicate to them. The second thing for me will be research. You have to do a lot of research, especially in your entrepreneurial journey. You research people who are making waves, you research mentors, you research people that have values that can add to your organizations and things. You want to research so that even if you're meeting somewhere at office or the president of the republic, you have something to tell them that particular time. You have some sort of communication to set across, and you are just not there because you want to eat and drink, but you're there because you're targeted. You are there because you're focused. And then the last part for me would just be always communicate. Either you're doing it verbally or you're doing it non-verbally. Always make sure everybody around you knows exactly what you want and at what particular time. Because to me, the earlier you communicate, the earlier you can resolve things, because the next part is resolving conflict, building trust. The earlier you communicate, the earlier you can get feedbacks and you can work on them. Like planning this meeting, Darius didn't just get up and then just send us messages 2 days before and say, hey, Fathi, you'll be talking on interpersonal. No, she didn't do that. We started this planning, I think a month ago, right? We had to plan. So you take out time, you do your research, you talk to some few people, you gather insight. So to me, these three are the take-home message. And then I want to train a question. How many times do we all reply to emails that say, we're very sorry, but your application has been denied?
Never. I never.
Well,
Okay.
I never replied to you.
I always
All
do.
right.
I always ask the reason why I wasn't retained, and this is in essence to probably improve my next submission. And in return, they usually answer that we are sorry. This is a high volume of applicants we receive. We cannot respond. So that has always been the rhetoric answer I've had in return.
Okay. I think we all want to do that. Like I said, interpersonal communication doesn't always end up with favorable outcomes. But as leaders, You fail, you win, you win, you fail. We have to learn every day, and we have to take up that challenge of replying messages that don't sit well. We have to take up that challenge of talking to people that we don't like. We have to communicate. So thank you all so much for listening. I think that's the short slide that I had for you all today, and I'm very happy that I've learned a thing or two and other reactions to certain situations. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
before you
Yeah, I'll
conclude
stop
that.
sharing there. You ask your question.
No,
Okay.
it's not a question. I just wanted to conclude. All right. So, what I was trying to say is talking about doing your elevator speech. I don't know how often or how many times we've already encountered it. You find yourself every day wondering, okay, if I meet this person, this is the person I need to be. I know that if I meet this person is going to help me reach out to the next stage. Reach out maybe to you will probably have a project you want to work on. You have a project proposal, and this is the person that can facilitate your project to run through, or a minister even. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, as God does his thing, God never tells, okay, it is now, this moment, this day, this person will come and they say, just surprise like that. And at times you are not really that prepared. I'm talking
Okay.
about that self-esteem within us. That's also an aspect that we need really to cultivate.
Yeah.
The habit of self-confidence, self-esteem, and don't be shy of either the environment or the people.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying this because I remember one evening I was doing sport around the presidency, and it was around 6 p.m. and I saw this man, the director of the civil cabinet of the president, and he was
Wow.
just there walking, and somebody said, "That's Vondayolo." People were greeting him and were greeting him. I was like, the man, I can go and talk to this man, but God is strong. The then I said, no, man, no hold me, they put me for prison. I just left it. When he passed away and I moved ahead, I started having this regretting that why didn't you go, even go and
Yeah.
try? They will not, but I could not run and go and stop him by because I don't think he was working for long. I think the car was working, waiting for him. So I just thought of sharing this with us all that no matter what, never undermine yourself, never look down on yourself, or be the environment, be the people with whom you are. Perhaps you have not yet been in this kind of environment, but be sure
Yeah.
when you find yourself in that kind of environment, it's usually very tense because you are like, go, should I not go? Your spirit within you is telling you, go ahead. The other spirit say, don't go. You look at environment, you look at how. So at times you look at yourself, you underlook yourself. And that's what I'm talking about. It's the spirit of self-esteem is very important to have that strong confidence in us. And in order to have a strong confidence in us, it goes beyond communication. It takes into consideration understanding ourselves, knowing what
Yeah.
we want,
Yeah.
knowing where we're going, and at least always be ready to take the offensive when it comes to our future.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much,
much.
Helen. And I think Pauline also brought a very strong point. She emphasized the nonverbal because for her case scenario with Elon Musk, she was like, I will not meet him then, but I'm going to do a lot of work that will make him recognize me. So there are people who do non-verbal communications like that, and they just use action. We all know Samuel Eto'o is our action man. Sometimes when he took over power for Feka Food, he would just close his door. When you're late, you just meet the door closed and you just understand that, okay, now I cannot enter. So thank you very much, Killian. Thank you, Pauline, for bringing in the aspect of both non-verbal and then verbal communication. I really appreciate it and I've learned a lot. So thank you, Darius. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you so much. I learned a lot. My journal is almost full, but I had to keep space for Faith. Okay, there's something you Sally really highlighted that got me. She said that in interpersonal communication you have to do a lot of research. That got to me personally because I always say that you cannot say something you don't know. So you
Yeah.
cannot be opening your communication skills, but you're not carrying out research, you're not trying to learn, you're not trying to gain new or knowledge. It is very important because if you don't know something, there's no way you can talk. So
Yeah.
I think that's my own one take home message. Do a lot of research. Knowledge is power. Okay,
Yeah.
we're almost running out of time. We're going to take one question while waiting for Faith. I think the network kicked her out. While waiting for her to come in, we'll take one question and we'll move on.
Okay.
Does anybody have a question? I have a lot, but I want to give room to else. Okay, I have one pertinent question. Sai, please just maybe explain because it's a problem I have. Like, how can you handle? I wrote it down so that I don't forget. So, how can you handle someone? How can someone handle difficult or uncomfortable conversations while maintaining professionalism? Because I get that a lot. There are people who are really annoying to talk with, but and I have to be professional. Like, how do I go about that?
Okay, thank you so much. Basically, I'll answer the question based on my own opinion or how I walk around it. Like I said, I'm always somebody that comes back. If at all we're pushing a project and it's difficult, and because of the project or the deadline, I just want things to move on. After that, Darius, I will always come back to you and I tell you, I didn't like this, I didn't like that, this wasn't supposed to be done. So that if at all we are working again, it is straight, you get. Because if I'm telling you at that particular time when we're doing that project, it's going to affect a lot about the project. So I'll play the mature person, I'll play the bigger person, because there are sometimes that I just go neutral and I act like I'm not so affected. You understand? As long as the project is coming to the end point, I'm good. But then I'll always make sure I come back and I highlight all the aspects that I didn't like, and then we move forward from there. That's if at all I want to work with you again.
Okay, thank you so much. Faith,
So that's that's my opinion.
Okay.
It's Faith that.
Yeah. Hello, Faith, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I hope you can hear me because I'm battling over here to stay connected.
Okay, that's fine. We're happy to have you back. All right. Please just tell us what are your thoughts about affirmations? When you hear the word affirmation, what comes to mind?
All right. Personally, I think it has a lot of, to me, it goes a lot with declarations. It has to do with saying out loud what's that little voice that's in you, and you don't know how to voice it out, but you just have to voice it out. Is declaring those hidden thoughts, that little voice. And it helps you really just bring out the best in you, because when done continuously, it can help you to reveal the potential in you. And as well in teamwork too, it helps bring out the best in your team. So it's just about revealing and declaring. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So I just have to take over here.
Yes.
Okay. All right, everyone. I'm really sorry for the in and outs. I'm Faith Flourish Ubi. I'm a midwife educator and reproductive health advocate. That means I talk a lot. I communicate a lot, be it with my team or be it with my students or with the community at large. And today I was asked to share on the importance of affirmations. And as Darius has really asked me, she said, what is affirmation to me? And I'd like to throw this question back to everyone following us. Like I said, it's going to be very, very interactive. So I'm throwing the question to you all. What is affirmation? Darius, could you go first?
Saying what, for me, affirmation is saying what you want to see happen in your life.
Okay, I'll take that. All right. saying what you want to see happen in your life. Anyone wants to give it a try?
I think I'll try. With what I understand, affirmations to me is like bringing my mind to what I want to see, because I believe if I need to, my mind need to be where I want to be. So I believe by saying affirmations, or by telling myself certain things, I'm actually telling my mind to accept that reality and make it manifest.
Yeah. All right. Speaking your mind, what is in your mind for it to manifest physically? If I'm paraphrasing. Okay. Anyone else?
I think affirmation is a statement or phrase, a positive statement or phrase that can be used to overcome a negative outcome or a negative thoughts that you have.
Okay, it's like you're reading from my notes. I like that. All right. Okay. Anyone wants to share something before I just dive deep?
I don't know, what I really tell myself is, there's a statement that people always say, fake it till you make it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let me bring a scenario whereby if you're trying to cross a bridge and you're scared, what do you tell yourself? I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I'm strong. I'm brave enough. So those are the affirmations that I always tell myself. I fake it till you make it. It's like reinforcing you that you can do it, even if you know there's danger. But you said, no,
Yeah.
you can do it. So that's
Wow. Yeah, we can just close, we could wrap up. I think everybody has a good grasp of this. We could just wrap this up, but okay, since we're here to learn, let me just go ahead with what I planned for today. Sally, thank you very much for your presentation. I was in and out, but I grasped a few things that I think I'm going to share them as I go on. So, affirmations, as we all said, we have had different definitions, and I think it's the best way to define affirmation because that's what reflects or interprets more to you as a person. We are talking about communication, and before you are able to communicate even with others, you must be able to communicate with yourself, the person in interpersonal, as Sally rightfully said. So if you are able to define it for yourself, then you can be able to define it for others and use it in whatever scenario you could find yourself. So the next exercise before I continue, I'd like everybody to give 2 affirmations, one personal and one in terms of leadership. I'll go first. I lead by example. So the first, I'm a believer, so I'll always go with I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And in the corporate or in the leadership domain, the one I use is I am a good leader and I am a good servant. So those are my examples of affirmations. And I like to have maybe one from each participant, please.
Okay, so I'll go. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
I think one of my most important affirmation this year has been, let all I do be done in love.
Okay.
And then when it comes to leadership, I am a wealth creator because I believe when people are wealthy, they are healthy and are more productive. So those are the 2 for me.
Thank you very much, Sally. I think I'll steal that wealth because I need money in this period. I need to call my money forth. All right. Anyone wants to?
I'm calling money.
All right. So
okay, I can go next.
Yeah.
Personally, my personal affirmations, as like our host said, I'm a Christian, so I always say I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like there's nothing that is above me. Whatever comes to me is what I can handle. And for leadership, what I always tell myself is I am an example. I always tell myself I am an example. If I'm leading people, I have to be someone I have to put myself in their place. I have to lead by example. If I'm telling somebody to do something, I make sure I can do it and I have done it before. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I heard one male voice the first time. Can that male voice come out again?
All right. Hello. Well,
Hello.
my first affirmative my first statement is always believe in yourself. Having my wall in front of me, it's on my decks. So it's anytime I face difficulties, I just look at the wall. It's written there bold, believe in yourself. Then in terms of leadership, I I always have in mind that leaders don't cry on stage; they cry behind stage. So no matter how difficult your life is, don't go out there and start saying, "I've done this, I've done that." No, there's a particular person that you know that this person is resourceful. This person, whenever you go there, the person can help you. These are the backstage people. You don't need to be 4, 5. It can only be one person. And you go and say, "See, hello, friend. Things are hard." So to me, that's why I'm saying leader cry behind stage, don't cry in front of stage. So that's my two statements.
All right. Anyone before I go ahead?
All
I
right,
think
let
it's
me just go. I always tell myself I'm worthy of love. I love love. I love when people give out love. So I say that to myself that I'm worthy of love. Okay, in leadership, I always say I am capable and I attract success because I believe that sometimes we are in phases where there's a task ahead of you and you don't even know where to start. So I just keep, if I can do this, I'm capable. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much. And those are all valid affirmations. Like I said, it comes from within. You might build up an affirmation or set one up because of the challenges you know you are facing, be it personally or be it at the place of work or with your team. So I like the whole Wem'Afrika team to pardon me. If you've noticed, I've changed background. I've been called urgently from work and my phone is off. So my slides may not be available at the moment. Luckily, I have my notes, but by the end of the day, I'll share my PowerPoint presentation with you also. We'll just flow as the tides carry us. Okay. From all the discussions or all the conversation we've had so far, we have seen different types of affirmations, and that can be applicable in different areas. We have seen self-affirmations, the ones you tell yourself, probably I am loved and I'm worthy of love, or I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And we have those that are more into the corporate world, into the leadership field, or you have some that you set for your team. And I believe that since we're into communication skills for effective leadership, we will not dwell too much on the personal side. We are going to focus on giving those words of affirmation to teams, to the people you are leading. Because, like I said, through words of affirmation, you are able to bring out the best in others. You're able to motivate others. And as a leader, it is very important to carry your team along. So as importance of this word of affirmation is to be able to carry your team along in the right atmosphere. And like one of the participants here rightly said, that it helps clear out negative thoughts. And I must tell you that if for a team to achieve or accomplish a goal, they must have the right mindset. And it starts with pushing out the right words. Communication is a mixture of emotions, it's a mixture of your personality, it's a mixture of your person, it's a mixture of words. So you being able to use words effectively in order to pass across the right message, be it for your team members or for your target population or for your niche, whatever be at whatever level, it's you being able to send out the right words. So today we are going to dwell a lot more on effective communication, the importance of affirmations for effective communication in leadership. We are dwelling a lot in leadership. So first part is, what is affirmation? So affirmation in communication, it means expressing validation, acknowledgement, and appreciation for another person, that's towards another person. Like I said, we're not focusing on the self-affirmation, what you use to motivate yourself. But as a leader, you are working with people and you have a goal to achieve. So how do you motivate? How do you boost? How do you acknowledge your team for them to produce the best? Because a team who is fully soaked in negative emotions or negative thoughts cannot thrive through with the objectives of the organization, cannot push through when challenging situations come. And we all know that challenges will always come. So by the help of affirmation, we are able to clear out the negative emotions and push positive emotions out. And there's one thing we must note. Please, if I'm too fast, you let me know. But like I said, I'll share my presentations by the end of the day. Affirmation is not about being or about flattery. No. When we are talking about affirmation, we are not talking about flattery. There are three key elements for affirmation. The first one is recognition. That's the first key element for affirmation. It's recognition, being able to acknowledge the achievements or contributions of your team members or of your target audience, being able to recognize and acknowledge that. The second key element is validation. Like we said, it's not about flattery. You're not just saying it for saying sake, but you have actually noticed something, because a good leader has sight. A good leader sees, a good leader notices, and a good leader knows his or her team members. So from the moment you have spent with your team, you may be able to pinpoint some strengths that you will use as points of validations to value your team and value their inputs and their opinions. And the third key element is encouragement, motivating your team, carrying them along, and being able to recognize their potential. Are we good so far?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, now.
Continue.
All right, thank you. So now, why is affirmation important in leadership? Why? Any thoughts on that? I want us to share. I don't want to be rambling alone. Why could we, in a webinar on communication, effective communication like this one, why would they bring up affirmations? Why? Is there, or is the place of affirmation important as a leader? Can leaders use affirmation as a tool? That's my question.
Yeah, sure.
I think a leader can use it too, because it's like a way of positioning the mind, like bringing your mind to focus on a particular. So with the affirmation, it's like it takes away all of the distractions and the fear from your team, brings their mind in a place of focus.
Yeah, it brings, exactly. With a divided mind, we can't really achieve much. But if everybody has a certain goal and all our minds are geared towards that goal, it makes things easier. So as leaders, we are not just decision makers. No. Leaders are effective communicators, good motivators, and influencers. So affirmation plays an essential role in effective communication. And these are a few points that I brought out for us today. The first thing is building trust and rapport. A team is a team because each team member trusts the fellow team member. If there is no trust, if there is no rapport amongst the team, then you can't work together. And luckily today, I was sharing with someone on how the people of Babylon were able, they scared God. They were able to frighten God. How did they frighten God? Because they had the same mind, they had the same language, they had the same, like Darius said, they were focused on one thing. And that's one major importance of affirmation as an effective communicator for leadership. So it builds that trust, it builds that rapport, encouraging team members to share their ideas and their concerns. For example, like I said, when I use the affirmation, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. If I bring it to my team and I'm like, hey team, we can do all things as long as we've set them as goals. That already is a linking system for each member. So each member knows that, okay, I have this fellow member and I know that together we can accomplish this. We can accomplish our quarterly goal. we can accomplish that. So that's one importance. The next importance is boosting morale and motivation. And we all know as leaders, if you have never faced a challenge as a leader, please raise your hand. If you have never faced a challenge,
my hands are under this chair. Can I put?
Okay, Darius, building up or preparing for these events, how was it? Was it all easy peasy and fuzzy and nice?
Never always easy, trust me.
Exactly. Did you have some sort of motivational factor or something to boost your morale?
Yeah, I did. I knew that the topic was quite a big one. And the fact that I knew that we were going to impact people was my main drive behind this.
Yeah. So that gave you some sort of a push. It was a push factor.
Yeah.
And as a leader, you could use the strength of affirmations to boost the morale of your team and to foster motivation. That's one point. That's my way of introducing the next importance of affirmation. It gives the capacity to boost morale and it motivates. For example, positive feedback makes people feel good.
Yeah.
Imagine at the end of organizing this and your superior is like, you did a great job. That it's really it's a boost. Like I said, affirmation is not flattery. We're not trying to caress you because but we're simply highlighting the important things and setting better goals for next time. Also, it encourages and it fosters creativity. It also reduces resistance and conflicts. Like we all gave our professional affirmations and personal affirmations. I like our brother with the bass. I'm sorry, I didn't quite grasp your name, so I'll just use this to highlight you today. He said, for the professional, he says, leaders cry at the back. Imagine you have your team, and that's that's the affirmations for the team. It means amidst any challenge or amidst any situation, every team member knows that this is our tagline. Our tagline is, we are here and we cry only at the back. Our objective has to be met and we are not showing weaknesses. That already sets a certain standard for the entire team. And they know that this is what we are working on. Are we good so far?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the third part, if there are any questions, we should just drop them at the chat box or at the end. That's how we do, right, Darius?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, how do we use affirmation in leadership? How can we do that? How can we accomplish that? There are some practical steps that we could use to incorporate affirmation into leadership communication or effective communication as leaders. The first thing is active listening, because through active listening, you may be able to pick out some of the weak points of your team to know where to emphasize on when you're creating your affirmation system or your affirmation words. Effective listening is one of the key point aspects of communication. You cannot be an effective communicator, or you cannot say you have communication skills without being an active listener. Sally, am I speaking your mind?
For sure.
Yeah. So listening is a key element of communication or effective communication, especially as a leader. So in active listening, what do we talk about? Is you listen to your team to understand, not just to respond or to react.
Yeah.
When you show that you're actively listening, you affirm the words that they speak and you affirm their value to the team. For example, you could say, I hear what you're saying and it's clear. So effective listening helps you to understand what is going on in the team and how you can be able to use it to build on your next step. So, for example, I was working with my team some months back. We had a project to run in a school. And I'm telling you, because we do a lot of educations on campus, and the number of students they told me we were going to be working with, I've never had that number before. And I noticed some of my team members talking at the back, they were like, we'll fit do the thing. So I'm sorry for pidgin. Like, they were like, can we handle this task? And at the moment, I didn't react. I just stayed calm. So in the next meeting that we had, I brought up a sheet of paper and I printed in bold, like, we can do this. We can do this. We will do this. And I just posted it on the wall where we were having the meeting. And I asked everybody to go and read that sentence 5 times. We can do this. We will do this. We can do this. They were like,
Yeah.
why are you asking us to do that? I'm like, I heard what you said the previous day concerning this stuff ahead. And if I was not active enough in my listening, I wouldn't have highlighted that point or that feeling. And I bet you, if your team is demoralized or is affected or is weak mentally, no matter the goals you guys will set, there is no breaking forth. There is no way you're going to break forth. So this was just to show how my effective listening was. I was able to create the right atmosphere. And I'm telling you, at the end of that meeting, I equally printed like individual sheets for them to go and post in their rooms. So each time they get up, they are like, we can do this, we will do this. Because I'm so intentional about on their mindset and how they see the projects we go for. Because as a person, I've built my mind to handle some stress, to handle some challenges. But each person you meet on your team is different from you, and you have to handle them accordingly. So affirmation is also a way of handling your team or managing your team, because using the right affirmations just it sets the mood, it sets the pace. And like the one of the participants rightly said at the start, it clears away negative emotions. I think that's the major thing that we have to grasp as what concerns affirmation. It totally clears away the negative informations. Now, what's the impact of affirmation on team dynamics? The first impact, or for me, it's more like the importance, is it creates a positive work environment. The use of affirmations like, oh, Darius, you have done a great job today. You're creating they always talk about the work climate or the working environment. Most times people think it's only about physical remuneration or in cash, but you actually declaring the valuable things that your team is doing or your team members are doing, it creates the perfect atmosphere for continuous growth and continuous learning. And it fosters in their mind that you are not a boss, you are actually in synergy with them, because there is a difference between a leader and a manager. But through maximizing the power or the strength of affirmations towards your team, you show them that you are a leader and you're not a manager. A manager is just there to oversee, you do this, you do that. But the leader is actively involved. And one of the ways you can show that you're actively involved with your team is through giving them affirmations. So the first impact that affirmation has on team dynamics is creating a positive working environment. The next impact is enhancing team collaboration. When individuals in a team feel affirmed, they are more likely to be encouraged and open when communicating with them. And affirmation, most times as a leader, most times you give affirmation is when you're giving feedback. And if I'll just share a little bit on my way of giving feedback, is I use the sandwich method. So when I want to give a feedback, definitely there will be negative feedback amongst. We are all human beings and we are not perfect. So what I do is positive feedback, negative feedback, and I top it up with the positive feedback. That's my sandwich mechanism when giving feedbacks to my team. So if we've worked on a project and I see that maybe the secretary or whosoever member on the team did extremely well, I'll go and affirm to that person that in this or this area, you had an excellent output. You were at 45% or 75% on your output. That's one positive affirmation. Then I'll layer it with a negative one, like probably in as much as you were good, you had some lackings or some defaults at this area. And I make sure that I end the conversation with another positive affirmation or another positive feedback. So at the end, you're not leaving being demoralized. I start with the good and I end with the good. And at the end, it just enhances the whole collaboration and team spirit. And also, the last thing I'll share on the impact of affirmation on team dynamics is conflict resolution. And I think Sally, who was the previous speaker, she spoke about conflict resolution. And as communicators, one of the ways you will use to resolve conflicts is by your words, through the way you manage the situation with your words, because your words can quench a fire as well as turn a little flame or the matchstick into a whole forest burn. So using affirmation is important, but we need to know that affirmation does not eliminate conflict. The fact that you're always throwing out positive affirmation to your team does not negate the fact that there will be conflict in the team. There is always conflict, and personally, I see conflict as a room for growth. Anybody that runs away or shies away from conflict is someone who is shying away from growth. When there is conflict, there is growth, but it's your way of handling the conflict. So another way that you could use affirmation is to handle conflict. Giving out the positive words, building out the positive thoughts towards your team is one easy peasy way to handle conflicts within the team system or within whatever organization, be it a group of 10 people, be it a group of 100 people. And I just want us to take some minutes to reflect on this whole affirmation, because honestly, if we're being honest, the aspect of affirmation has gotten a higher level these days. I see a lot of Instagram posts on dishing out affirmations and sharing a lot of posts. I don't know if anybody has noticed that the influence of affirmations has increased lately in this our generation. Before the past year, we never had a lot of it, but I'm really thanking the organizers of this event for throwing out things like this, because as Sally said, in the interpersonal, there is personal. I think that's the most important thing I grasp from her presentation. In the interpersonal, there is the personal. So in as much as affirmations are important for your team and for your leadership, you must equally boost yourself. And scientific research has attested or proven that affirmation has an impact on your neuroscience, on your neurons, on your mood. Imagine working with Darius, she always tells herself in the morning, today I will handle every challenge, or I call for everything good. And she goes to the workplace, she already radiates that. It's an aura. She already radiates that, because as a leader, she's first of all a person. So she has to deal with the person in her before dealing with the person in the team. So my task today, or my challenge today for all leaders, because we are all leaders, we are just using communication skills as one of the tools for our effective leadership. How will you maximize affirmation for yourself personally before taking it to your team as a leader? Are you going to take time to reflect on yourself, reflect on your strengths, reflect on your abilities, and affirm yourself in your weaknesses? Because you are just a reflection of who you are inwardly. And what you are or who you are is going to reflect itself on a team. You can't bring affirmations that you're bringing to your team if you're not using them on yourself and they have worked for you. That's why when I brought the example of my team members, that is my own personal, that's my story. That is how I've used affirmation with my team and how the outcomes have been. So for you as a person, as the leader, how are you going to step up your affirmation? What are the new things that you will introduce before taking it to your team? Because if you're not able to lead yourself first, I'm sure you won't be able to lead any other person. So I think I'll just end here. I hope I've not taken too much time. Is there a timekeeper?
You have, but that's fine. We're rounding up soon.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So I'm open to questions, reflections, your thoughts, anything that I said that wasn't clear, anything you'd like me to lay more emphasis on. I'm open, and at the end, you receive your slides, your presentation.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faith. Like I've learned a lot. It was really it's so much to have. So I hope thank God we are recording. I have to go through this again over and over. There's so much knowledge there. I just want to add to what you said, because you said affirmations doesn't replace conflict or problems. You're very right, because there are days when we wake up and we tell ourselves, today's going to be a good day, I'm going to be productive, I'm going to be blessed and all that. But you have the worst day of your life. It happens.
Yeah, the within actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So it should not allow you to feel be like, but I said in the morning that my day was going to be good, it was going to be no. Each day when you affirm it, like I said earlier, it improves your mindset. For me, it's just a way, it's like my personal therapy. So the fact that we're affirming, or we are telling our team that we can do this, doesn't mean that problems are not going to come up, issues are not going to come up. It's just a way of telling ourselves that no matter the circumstances, we got this, we can do this. So thank you so much for really highlighting that. That was my take home. I hope everybody has a take home. We are rounding up, and we are so sorry for the time. I'm going to take one or two questions and then we close. So if anybody has a question, bring it up. Sharp, sharp. Saying who has not spoken?
I've not heard Terence, Owok, and then Veronica.
But we are 10
Questions
of four actually.
ask, or anything you want to add? Let's just take 2 minutes for that, please. Okay, while waiting for others to ponder on their questions, I didn't formally introduce Sally. Sally is the CEO and founder of Happy Me Health. So we have health educators here. If you want more information about that sector, Faith is a midwife and health educator as well. So if you want to get to them, if you have more questions, you can get to me after this, and I'm going to get you in contact with them. And they are great team leaders. I've worked with them in the past, and this is like a small team. Thank you so much for all of our participants. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contributions. We are happy to have you, and we are happy that you took out time out of your busy schedules to have us as well. So now I'm going to go over to my boss, and she's going to end the session.
It feels great to be called a boss, but there's a lot of work to be done. So just call me Pauline. I appreciate that. So thank you so much, Sally and Faith. It was really an interesting webinar. I really learned a lot, and I really grabbed a lot of stuff. For example, Sally mentioned about the personal and the interpersonal. Personally, I have a background in conflict management, and I talk about mindset building. So there's always a conflict between the interpersonal and the personal. And between both, which one is more superior? She said the personal is important because you are relating to people. And if you don't understand yourself, how can you relate to someone else? And she mentioned about emotions and personality. That means there are two different things, but how do you make them balance? How do you approach people in terms of leadership? In terms of leadership? So working with my team, it's quite a challenge because how do I put my emotions? How do I put my personality? How do I differentiate? How do I differentiate them? So it comes with a lot of interesting thoughts. And you asked, what are your affirmations when you were asking Faith? You asked, what are your affirmations for your leadership? And in my mind, I was thinking, oh, that's something I've not really thought about. But what I put ahead of me when I'm talking to my team is listening. They have ideas to share to people. They have things that they want to bring out to you. Maybe you're not saying it because you're up there. And if you listen to them, maybe you're like, okay, maybe I have to look to this approach or this other approach. So that's something I really grabbed. And with Faith, you talk about affirmations. It's not about affirmation, it's about a culture. What are your culture? What are the culture you bring within the team? She said, doing her training with her team, they're not expecting a large audience, but she had to write something down. I need to think maybe the next approach or maybe the next event again, a team member will write something down and say, oh, madam, you mentioned that to me, and can you read it aloud? Gradually, you're already building a culture. So you see, all those areas where you talk about, it's interrelates, but how do we balance them? I'm sure from this webinar, we have 10 participants, 9, they have learned something and you're able to grasp on how to approach them. So next time I'm talking to my team members, I'll be expecting better communication skills. I'll be expecting affirmations on how you can approach targets or projects in future. And before we end, Killian, are you there? We have a webinar next week on cultivating peace. Killian, are you there? Oh, it's gone. He's gone. It's not there. I think it's gone.
Yeah.
I think it's gone. So next we're going to talk about cultivating peace. What is cultivating peace? Think about that. But if you have time, next week, the 21st, I'll share the link below. Then you can attend and you share your thoughts about peace. You can be an individual when you're not peaceful. You need to have a peace of mind. And how do you have peace of mind? You have to know research. Apart from research, what do you do? You have to love people. Away from love, what do you need to do again? You have to communicate. And how do you communicate that? So, hoping to see you guys next week. And I would love to work with Sally and Faith in our future projects. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday. And B, you are doing so great. Take care and bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you
Bye.
so much, everyone. Bye,
great
Katie. Bye, Darius.
Bye. Bye.